My goal in life is to bring more empowerment into the world. And so helping people break out of survival is where my jam is at. I had checked off all of the I'll be happy when boxes. And what I realized was there was this growing sense of unnamed dread that I kept facing, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was to discern between what someone who's thriving really looks like and somebody who's just successful in their career. Because I was successful, but I was just surviving because emotionally I was bankrupt. I woke up one morning and this elephant of dread was sitting on my chest. And I asked out loud, there's got to be more to life than this. Everything changed. And what I realized was I was following my instinct, which is really survival based, instead of following my intuition, which is soul led and soul guided. And so that's why I love to teach intuitive discernment, to meet my soulmate, to have a beautiful child, to have a happy home where I'm not chasing happiness, but I'm embodying it.
I call it the conveyor belt of success, right? You get
Hmm.
good grades, you get a good job, you excel in your career, and then if you're lucky, you retire and you're happy. That is the myth that we are sold, that so many of us prescribe to without realizing that there are options.
You think of it as you have two sets of data coming into your mind and body and your energy. And one set of data is your intuition, and the other set of data is your instinct. I trusted my heart, and look where I ended up. I was like, was that your intuition or was that your instinct? Because your instinct will lean you into the survival mode, and your intuition will guide you to something better. Think about your worst fear. That's going to show you what your instinct feels like versus your intuition. And what I would recommend for people, the second part, or I want to say step two of being able to develop intuitive discernment is practice on the stuff that doesn't matter what the outcome is, right? See what your instinct shows you and see what your intuition shows you. Because, the worst thing that'll happen is you'll have bad pasta. Like it's not the end of the world. Is this my fear driving me to stay on the survival treadmill? Or is this my intuition inviting me to stretch my capacity? I call it my BS meter. And for me, it's like when I say something out loud, I know when I'm full of it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so full of it right now.
It's kind of like, in my opinion, the difference, almost the difference between masculine and feminine energy, whereas feminine energy is more leaning back and trusting,
Mm.
whereas the masculine is going and seeking. I always had to
The
be
bull by its horns.
Yes,
Yeah.
I always had to be leading because I felt like that was my ability, that was my only ability to control what was going on around me.
I think it can be a wolf in sheep's clothing sometimes too, but I think generally speaking, the energy of allowing and receiving, which is a very divine feminine energy, is deeply tied into intuition.
I speak about three phases that we have to go through in order to exit. The first one is self-awareness. The second one is reprogramming. And the
Mhm.
third one is reinvention. I think
Mhm.
the beauty in our intuition is guiding us into bigger opportunities.
Your soul is just as invested in keeping you safe than your fear is. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is if I move off of this treadmill that I've been on, one of the energies that I would invite people to play with, and it's a really simple thing for people to do at home, is play the what if game. What if I succeeded? What if it turned out great? What if there was something more for me? Because if I know one thing for a fact is you're worthy, you're deserving, you're capable, and you've gotten through so much, getting through the good stuff, that's not a challenge. The biggest element of overcoming is the receiving, the allowing, and the trusting of yourself. That's where the work is at. And that's one of the big elements that I work with my clients is doing that inner work, to reclaiming self-trust, to reclaiming self-value. I've never re-recorded it because it's an oldie, but it's a goodie, kind of like some disco, if you will. My purpose is to bring more empowerment into the world. And I feel that if you learn to be able to trust your inner knowing and develop that intuitive discernment, that is the path that I love to lead people in doing it. I want you to know that it doesn't matter how many zeros are in your bank account or what your relationship status is or what your current circumstances are, because I've worked with people from all backgrounds. A better life is waiting for you to claim it.
You were not built to break, but you damn sure were not built to just survive. Disrupt the cycle, reclaim your life, and thrive on your own terms. And I will see you next week.